Welcome to ProServe 2012 training videos. What we're going to look at in this video is the scheduler. The first thing I'm going to do is drop down into my global settings, and I'm going to change my time or my start date to November 1st. And I'm going to leave it on this technician, and I'm going to turn off all departments because I only want to see in here and my scheduler, I only want to see pest control department. Now, let's look at what the program is really doing from my global settings. Since I'm starting with November 1st, and I'm looking at technician Billy Ray Bob, the program's going to start here at November, and then it's going to go to November 2nd, Friday. It's going to skip Saturday and Sunday and go to Monday, and then go to Tuesday. The reason it's doing that is because here I'm telling the program to skip Saturday and Sunday. If I click that, then I'm telling the program to include Saturday. In other words, skip Sunday only, so it includes Saturday. If I click it again, then I'm telling the program just totally off, include Saturday and include Sunday. So I'm just going to set that back to skip Saturday and Sunday. If I change this date, and I'm basically clicking my up arrow key is what I'm doing. I'm just browsing through the date in that fashion. And then it's just starting now at November 6th, Wednesday the 7th, Thursday the 8th, and Friday the 9th. And you can just kind of see how that's working. Or I could click and do it this way and basically do the same thing. It's just a little bit easier to get in that and use my arrow keys to bump through it. Now I can change the technician, and it'll change right with me. Okay. Now I'm going to set it back to Technician 1, Billy Ray. Now, this section of the program is my open work orders, which is showing me all the work that's open. I can see scheduled whether it's on or off. This section up here is when I actually double click into a work order. It will get me in schedule mode for that particular work order and allow me to manipulate the date and time, and also the technician to schedule it for a certain day. As I've already kind of described, this section is just showing me what's scheduled for the Friday, November the 2nd for that technician. Same technician, because I'm telling it to. I could change this and look at this technician for the second day. I mean, I'll show you that in a second why you would do that. But November 5th, and that's what this is doing. So it's showing me each day 4 days out. If I change this setting to all the same, then this is where I can change these technicians, but they're all on November 2nd. See? So now I'm looking at these 4 different technicians for that same day, November 2nd. So as I'm browsing through at this point, it was the same principle as before, but I'm really seeing one day, and I'm seeing 4 different technicians for that same day. Okay. I'm going to set it back to sequence. I'm going to set these back to the one technician so that I'm looking at 4 days out for that technician. I'm going to set my date back. And I'm going the wrong way. Okay. All right. It is possible that I could have orders out here that are actually not scheduled. Now, all these happen to be. But if I if I browse over a little bit, I can sort this by date. I'm not interested in September. That's why it's important to use the cancellation program to keep your database, clean of orders you're not going to work, because I'm not working with September. I'm working with October. So I just want to see October here, and I just want to see what has not been scheduled. So if I look at October 13th and I change, make sure this, let me see what technician this is. This is T03. Let me look at the 14th because it matches the technician I'm working with. So I'm just going to change this to the 14th because I just want to show you that this job is actually on this screen even though it's not been scheduled. And the reason for that is because that's how it was set up and came from my service account. His service account right there is 10, well, the customer number is 1029. Let me pull him up and take a look at it. 1029. All right, here's the reason why, is because this is off and I don't have a time that's basically in stone. So I have to call this customer each month and verify what time that we can actually come by and do his work. So that's why this ticket was created for the 14th, and it's in the 14th, but it's not been scheduled. So at this point, I could double click this guy, make a phone call because I need to call this guy and we need to schedule him for that day. 9 o'clock looks like it's available, so I'm just going to change. And I'm using the arrow keys there. So once I got in and I finished the 9, I pressed my right arrow to get to the minutes. And so now I can go ahead and schedule that. And if I wanted to enter notes, anything on there, I could. And I could update that back to the service account if I needed to. And then I'll just apply that. And you'll see this change. And it will drop to 9 o'clock. So now it just dropped into the 9 o'clock. And so now I don't see him anymore on this screen because I scheduled him. And so he's kind of left my screen here. So this kind of gives you an idea of how this works. So the idea is to browse through your open work orders that has not been scheduled yet and try to find a place for them. And you can reschedule a customer. For example, maybe this customer called and you've located them here, and you can double click this guy and actually change his time, let's say to 11:30. I mean, we're not changing it much, but either way, that's how you can modify this guy. Now again, when I double click this guy, it had to change my filter over here because it needed to get on that same record. So that's why it changed my filter, turned it off, so I can flip that again because I don't see this guy over here because he's scheduled. Okay, now there's much more to this. I'm not going to spend any more time on it on this video because it's getting quite long. And but that kind of gives you an idea. And of course, I would need to save all back to my system if I wanted to save the changes that I've made. And of course, this same basic program is that you can access it from the open work orders file. And so that pretty much concludes this video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Thanks.